Hey guys, Paul McClain here. Welcome to the Monday Morning Wake Up Podcast. Excited that you're with us today. And hey, this is Thanksgiving week. And this is one of those weeks where it's like, you know, I think that the thing that we need to be doing every day, it finally reminds us to do it that day. And then when we do, we're like, this just feels great, man. Like this is how we should be living. And it's one of those things where we're going to really dive into, you know, building a business with gratitude, thankfulness, how to build gratitude into yourself, how to build gratitude into your clients you're sitting with, how to build gratitude with the agents that you're serving, because gratitude is a strategy. It's not one of those things where it's like, I just don't feel it. No. It's a strategy. There's ways that you can do, or things that you can do practically, habitually, that routines that you could put in that can build the gratitude. And it's so essential to build a big business. In fact, if it's built with gratitude, the foundation will allow it to be built the right way. Without it, there's only a couple things that could take place, a couple storms that might be able to tear that thing down, because you don't have that gratitude you need to have to go out there, scale and build it. And so today, guys, I want to tell you, first of all, hey, I'm thankful for you. I'm excited that you're a part of this and you join every single week, and I hope I do my best to bring on guest speakers that can really pour into you, that can help you with practical things on how to go out there and increase your personal production, your sales, but also people that can hop on you and say, hey, listen, I've gone out there and developed success. You know, we've had a lot of integrity partners, 7-figure income earners, people that built massive businesses across the country, and the difference between them and just, I guess, myself getting started, or maybe you right now, and you're like, I want to bridge that gap. I want to get to the next level. Man, the difference is just between your ears, man. It's like, it's just the thought process, the belief systems. And so I hope you've also been served by people hopping on and giving you some feedback on how to develop that different level of thought process to take it to the next level. And so today, guys, I've got a packed house. I got some great guys that are joining me today. I got Sam Hankey on. Sam, how you doing, brother?
What's up, man?
Good to see you. Good to see you, brother. Now, I can't reach Jeremiah, so you're going to have to fist bump for me, dude, just to kind of give him some love. Jeremiah, good to have you on, bro.
Good to be on.
All right, guys, and just so you know, both Sam and Jeremiah, they go out there and they help 20-plus families a month. Jeremiah's been here for a very short period of time. You know, really, conference this last year is really when things started to really take shape, where his commitment level said, hey, I am here full-time.
Right.
But it's not been a long time. Sam, same thing. It's not been years, right? It's been, a year and a half or so?
Yeah.
And starting to see some great growth, man. Your team's growing. You're serving 20-plus families every single month. And so I really wanted them to come on and kind of share about some of the things that they've done, because their stories to me, like, I don't agree when somebody says, man, I don't need no encouragement. It's like, dude, well, tell me how you figured that out, because like, I want it every day, bro. Like, if somebody's breathing, they need to be encouraged, man. I want to be motivated and inspired to go out there. I want to read things and see things and hear things that brings out the best in me, right? Because it's easy to get caught in the fray and get caught off track. I need things. And so, guys, I'll tell you this much. When I speak to Jeremiah and Sam, and I mean this wholeheartedly, like, I just feel like a better version of myself. I want to go out there and do more. I want to go out there and build and create. I'm more invigorated to go out there. I got more energy. It's like the people that actually help elevate you in life are important to have around you. And so I think you'll feel the same way as I go through this today. I think that for a lot of us, we have enough people in our life that they pull us down. Mm-hmm. It's like, man, I get off the call and like, dude, I need to get baptized again. Like, you're trying to call the pastor, hey dog, like, it's Monday, but man, I know it's not Sunday, but can you come over real quick? I just talked to Billy again. Billy's got me all jacked up, man. Can you come? Can you do it again? Like this will be different. I think this is going to help you with the strategy to develop gratitude, because be clear. Like, let me ask you this, Sam. Like, have you had seasons in your business where they were going really good and you lacked gratitude?
Yeah.
And have you had seasons in the business where they're not going really good and you also lack gratitude?
Yeah, definitely.
So it's not necessarily tied to results or outcomes necessarily. It's one of those internal strategies and choices you can make, right?
It was how I viewed my business, like the glasses I had on at the time that determined whether or not I was having gratitude. And I consider myself a very grateful person. I'm not always, but I've definitely grown a lot since I first got started, and I've learned a lot of how to be grateful, even if things aren't going super great.
Well, dude, maybe let's start there, dude. Talk about some of the things that, like, because I think for everybody's in different seasons in this business, but do we all know that, like, there's people out there that are billionaires, right? And, dude, they're miserable, bro. Like, they're miserable. And there's people that, dude, they live in a hut in some different country, and they got a smile on their face, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that, like, you know, it ain't important to have a good financial situation. I do think that helps. And if I could choose to be broke or choose to have money, I'd choose that. But I think gratitude is not tied to necessarily neither one of those things. And I think that it is a strategy. I do believe that Family First Life was built with the foundation of gratitude and generosity. And what I mean by that is, like, when you look at the comp, how that was structured, when you look at the renewals that they were given without any kind of conditions, when you look at the fact that there was no contract ever established, when you look at the fact that there was bonuses on top of having the highest comp structure by far in the nation, when you look at the fact that the lead strategies and vendors were given to the agent, it wasn't like white sheeted and you have to go through just us and every lead's an FFL. You know, we tell you who to go through. We do our best to kind of try and experiment. And all those things, man, it was built on generosity. When you look at the fact that there's no fees, dude, when you look at the fact that there's no cost for training, man, like, be clear, there's 20,000 people. I mean, like, all right, do some math here, bro. Like, if they charged $100, which would be incredibly cheap to go to conference, like, nobody would be like, oh my God, it's $100. Like, fool. Like, dude, like, Alex Rodriguez is going, Damon John's going, Jocko Willink's going, who else am I forgetting?
Fly
Girl's going, Dave Anderson's going, Pastor Matthew Barnett's going. Like, dude, like, if I said $500, you'd be like, oh, that makes sense. Okay. So just do the math, like, times 20,000, like, what that would be. But it's free.
100,000.
It's not free to put on. It's free for us. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, hey, shout out to Sean. Do appreciate you, dog. But
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah, it's free for us. But it was built with a foundation of generosity. Right. And I believe that's why it's scaled and been built the way it's been built. Meaning that if you look at every other IMO in the nation and you look at what the business looks like, the volume, production, producers, integrity partners, 7-figure income earners, 6-figure income earners, if you look at all those things, like this, what we built is like so many stories taller. But because the foundation was established the right way. And I remember in getting this business started, seeing the gratitude and the generosity when it was a tough spot. And I think most people, that's tough to do because it wasn't easy to do. How did you do it, Sam?
So, I mean, it took time for me to realize how to learn how to be grateful for all of it. Because I feel like when you're grateful, you can't pick and choose what you're grateful for. You have to be grateful for all of it or none of it. You know, so Family First Life has blessed me not only just financially, but I mean, it's helped me develop relationships, like life-changing relationships with the people I get to work with. It's helped me change my friends' lives. I mean, I get to help my friends learn a skill set and serve families and be able to make a really great income. You know, they get to work from home. They get to leave their miserable jobs. Where they're making $13, $14 an hour, having to tell everybody, ask for paid time off, stuff like that, So I think one of the things that I had to learn of how to be grateful for the bad times too, I think it all kind of stems from learning how to be grateful for the thing I wish the most hadn't happened. I lost my dad at a young age. And I was upset for a very long time. But one of the blessings I received is I learned when you lose somebody at a young age, Paul, you gain a lot of empathy for other people. And you realize other people have suffered loss as well. And you learn how to communicate effectively with other people and you can understand their pain. And one of the things here is we sit with a lot of clients who are filling out insurance leads because they lost somebody in their life or they just got diagnosed with an illness. And I was blessed enough to be able to relate to them and speak to people like in the same age group who are very similar to my father. So it took a while for me to realize that's what we do here is we help serve people just like my dad. But once I did, I learned how to be very, very grateful for all the things that for the path that God has put me on.
Dude, that's so good, man. And I think that sometimes the person that we're best equipped to serve is our former self, and when you say like the empathy that you developed and all those things that came from that experience and what you had to go through, that in the moment it seemed so terrible. Like you would have said like, this makes my gratitude journal while you're going through that. But when you start to look back and find what's the good that God's got in that, because he didn't have that happen necessarily, but he's always got something good in all the things, right? And when you look back with the lens of finding the good, then all of a sudden that good shows itself. But you have to first be making the decision of like, I'm going to let go of the hurt. I'm going to let go of these emotions, this, why did this happen, these different mindsets. I'm going to let go of that, and I'm going to start looking for the good, right, in that, and then it revealed itself. And the crazy thing is this business is positioned yourself in a way where, dude, you can help people that I couldn't help, that I wouldn't have helped if I sat with the same family that you would help, because of the fact that you do have those qualities and characteristics that are derived from that very thing. And so that's being able to go out there and serve other people, right? To be able to get on their level, to have the empathy, like, hey, I understand how you feel, not just because I'm sympathetic, I'm empathetic. I've been there. I understand what it looks like. Let me go ahead and break that down and connect with you. And that authenticity is real, because it is real. And I think that's such an important thing to have, is like almost like being thankful and thanking God for things that he, like, I thank him for stuff that he didn't do, that at the moment I'm like, this sucks, you know what I mean? Like, you know, when I was 19 and my wife was 18, we had our first daughter, we separated for like a year and a half. And it was terrible, dude. Like, I was going, this was back in the recession, trying to make money to get things going, starting a business. I had a baby. I didn't know how to be, I mean, I was a kid still, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to like get through all my dysfunctions and the things that I was doing. It was a disaster. It was a very bad, dark space that I was in. I was not like, this is great. But I thank God that he didn't have us, that we didn't stay together, because it was only when we separated I realized that I was such a fool. You know what I mean? And like, I had to learn how to be like a spouse, how to be a husband, how to be a man. Like, I had to learn things because I didn't know, right? And it wasn't only when that took place in that season, I was aware of things I would never been aware of if I didn't walk through that dark space, that lonely spot where I only had God to look up to and get clarity. And so I think you got to be thankful for the things that weren't done also. And all of a sudden, you know, you realize that, man, there's a blessing behind all of that. And I think that helps Sam with being grateful all the time, if you can understand both sides of that coin, right? Jeremiah, talk about, like, dude, your story and kind of like how you got in the business and how you found the business, and what I think is important. And this is, I think, closer to home to you because you're newer in the business, right? Like, for somebody that's watching this that's, you know, been in the business like myself 15 years, dude, it becomes really difficult to remember what it was like when you got started. And I remember, you know, hearing this and thinking, like, I get this so much, like, whatever becomes your normal, you become numb to it, right? Or whatever becomes so familiar, you lose the favor in it. And like all of a sudden the blessing is like, it's not really a blessing because it's been so frequent. This is just normal. So it's so normal, I'm just numb to it. And if I'm numb to it, I don't appreciate it. And if I'm not appreciative for it, I'm not gonna perform at the level I should perform with it, because heck, what do I care? It's just given. It's just a normality. It's just, I'm numb to it. And I think that's a plague that really messes people up, where the things they used to pray about, they become the things they start to complain about. Talk about how, you know, you looking back, do you ever kind of use that point of reference of like what it used to look like and where it could have went, where you were at, upbringing and stuff like that, to make yourself feel really appreciative of the fact that things that could be stuff that you could be complaining about, like, man, I got to dial today, I got to go drive to an appointment or whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? Like do you ever look back and then do that and then talk about that, man? I think it'd be cool for people to kind of hear where you came from and then where you're at now, because, dude, I mean, I'm proud of you, brother, like what you've done and where you're at, and it's so new. But talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so, I mean, you know, everything stems from like what you experience. So for me, I came from not very much structure when it comes to my family life. So, you know, being around, you know, my family not having a lot of structure is something that really poised me when I was little. It kind of made me, like you say, they bring me the normality of like, you know, this is just how it is. So growing up, you know, going from, you know, house to house, you know, school to school, not really having any kind of structure has really kind of poised me in the way I think that, you know, this is just how it is, right? So when I would be around my friends and stuff like that, it was kind of just just seeing how their family life was and how compared to what my family life was, I was like, this doesn't seem like this is how it should be, right? So, growing up and then when finally getting introduced to this business, I was still used to my regular 9-to-5 job, having that kind of structure and stuff like that, which is what I was still getting used to because, like I said, I didn't have that. So, there would be a lot of things that when I first started, I would have to complain about, having to dial and stuff like that is just because I wasn't used to it. And now looking back at it is something I do appreciate because it's what has stemmed me into the person I am today. Those hard times is what has brewed me into the person I can be, how I respond to things, and just by the way I hold myself is something I'm very appreciative because, I do look back and I don't really look and see what I'm doing as normal because a lot of people my age aren't doing what I'm doing. So looking back and seeing where I was at 8 months ago and looking at it now is just a completely different situation. And I don't think that, it could have gone a couple different ways. If I didn't move to my Thea's house, who knows where I would have been. Maybe I would have just been, still working at a 9-to-5 job because I never really reached out and tried to find myself in God and, really just trying to find my journey of who I'm supposed to be. Just really instilling that work ethic and stuff like that is just something I wasn't used to. So I think definitely looking back and thinking about, the bad times and the good times in the business is what really just brought me to where I'm at now.
So did you think, like some of those, like when it got really bad, because you were trying to find a place to live, right?
Right.
And then you ended up with your aunt's house. You're like 17, 18.
Right.
Do you think that like all in that time, that's when you were able to kind of like, it was almost like you were able to slow down and develop the character that allowed you to see success in doing this business? Like you were able to find the connection with God and understand like, how to be appreciative of certain things because of that season that you were going through as a kid.
Yeah, most definitely, because especially not seeing, my parents not together when I was little and then coming into a household where they're married, it was really cool to see, like, that's just the structure that should be in place. So, looking back and just really thinking about how I was supposed to grow up and just kind of how I was to lead is just I kind of misunderstood the question. Say it one more time.
No, like just some of those things, like when you were trying to figure out like where to go, okay. Like with your mom, she wasn't working, I know you were telling me like how the situation was just really impoverished, right? Like there was no income coming in, like I think there's levels of that. Like I grew up and my dad was a plumber and my mom didn't work, so we didn't have, like I couldn't go get stuff. Like we didn't have money. My dad worked at Ruggiero as a plumber, right? But there's different levels of it. I know when I talk to you, it's like, dude, there's like how difficult it was because your mom wasn't working and you guys were just trying to figure out how to pay the bills and things like that. Did in that season were you able to kind of like, develop different levels of appreciation for certain things because of it? Like, did that shape you at all going through that you've led and taken into this business that's helped you actually see success?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, especially growing up, my mom, like, to be real, my mom was doing Social Security scams. Like, she was, like, doing whatever it takes to get money, like, legit. She was scamming people, taking their Social Security, and that was just kind of the way of living. And I've learned from those experiences to really just be happy in the moments that are, like, low. So I think that's one thing that I'm appreciative is that I can create some sort of happiness out of something that's terrible. Anytime I speak to anybody about my journey, they expect me to have like a really sad face on myself and just like kind of hold myself like down, like if I have this baggage on my back. And I've learned to live with it and embrace it, and I've used it as good in order to propel me to the person I am today. Yeah,
well, dude, I'll tell you what, man. I think that like your story. For one, dude, it's if everybody hears the whole thing, it's very inspiring, dude. And I think that the more you can realize that, dude, there's a lot of people that have gone through those times that are massively successful, become multimillionaires, but they made a decision, like you've made a decision, like I'm going to go out there and break that generational curse of poverty and what have you, and they make different steps and build that belief that, dude, you can be such a testimony to so many people that are in the same situation, and that's going to make a mess. And I could see that taking place, bro.
Yeah, and it's, growing up, a lot of my siblings, they kind of went through the same thing with my mom. So, seeing where my siblings are at now, it just shows that, it really just depends on how you perceive anything that goes, like what happens to you in life. You can take it one way. You can either take it in the reason to be successful, or you can really let that dawn on you and that be the way that your path is. I mean, everybody has a different path, and the way that you let it, dictate how you live your life is just, it really just depends on you.
Dude, Jeremiah, how did you not choose to be I think Well, let me ask you this: Did some of the responses to that same experience and upbringing, was the response like more of a victim for some of the siblings and stuff, and where it was like, why did this happen, or why did I have to go through this, or this is why I can't?
Yeah.
And then for you, the response wasn't that. Like, how did you choose a different response? Because it was the same experience, but one response will actually cause weights to be on somebody forever, and they will never live their potential because of something that was out of their control. But what they could control, the response, was responded to poorly. You responded in such a way that took the successful path, and responding in a way where it's like, this happened for me, how can I use this? How did you do that?
I just looked at, 32 seconds into a conversation with one of my sisters, and she's talking about doing drugs and just where she's at in life. I didn't want that. I mean, growing up, my biggest thing, I really just want to have a family and just be able to give my kids and my wife like the life that I've always wanted. So, looking at them and just seeing the way that they're living is just it's not attractive to me. I don't want to live like that because, there's so many things that you can experience in life, and I want to be able to do the utmost of all. I want to live life to the fullest, and I really just believe that I only got this kind of mindset by following God and just really figuring out where I am in my life and just what I need to do to get to that next point.
I love that, dude. I mean, it's so good, dude. What I want to talk about real quick is like how to create gratitude with clients, and then this is going to be stuff that's very practical, that's going to help your close ratio. And you know what? We used to talk about this, like, Sam. We would say it wasn't the close ratio, it was the care ratio. I'm like, dude, that's a lot better. Because that's what it is, dude. Like, we think we need to know more, but we need to care more. If you care more, you'll close more. And so it is a care ratio. 100%. Somebody's got like a 20% close ratio. Like, dude, you don't care enough, dog. Like, you got to get your care up, man. Can you get your eyes off your commission check and put them on a client? Because, like, it's hard to mess it up. Like, they're asking for the help, man. Like, and I've been there. Be clear. I was the guy that got started. And I was very transactional because I needed the money, right? It was about me. I needed to make this sell. I was trying to persuade and influence because I needed to make the money. And when my eyes were on myself, I couldn't take them off long enough to put them on them, to truly serve them, to care for them. And in that, it would lead to a much lower ratio for me to help these families. And so my sales were significantly lower. And so creating raving fans and like exceeding the expectation where the client calls you back. Like, Sam, have you ever had a client call you back and say, hey, you got to call my sister, or you got to call this person?
Yeah.
Or they're like, basically like, they're raving fans, like they're like trying to tell people about you, right? Yeah. They're celebrating you. You know what I mean? I remember one time my cousin, dude, he was taking these diet pills and they were working. And, dude, he was so excited about it. He was telling everybody about it. I'm like, dude, if you could tell people about, like, your business, like you're talking about these diet, like, dude, it'll grow. Like, he was a raving fan because, like, I think he lost more weight than he expected. You know what I'm saying? He's like, these are good, bro. Like, but if you can exceed expectation, you want people to be out there marketing for you.
Right.
Like, like, Sam, I know right now, if I went back into the field, which, dude, I love sitting with clients, man. I helped an agent out last night with an annuity. I'm like, I love this, dude. It's like you get paid to do this. I mean, I forget because I'm just recruiting and helping build. And I'm like, dude, this is insane. We rolled over $250,000 annuity. I'm like, I'm like, dude, you get paid this much to do that? Like, the clients were fired up, dude, super grateful. Dude, I'm like, what world am I living in? But I think in this business, as you build a career, the goal is after so many years where, dude, like you don't have to get leads. Like, I don't think I'd have to take leads right now. I'm pretty confident I could go out and help 500 families a year for many years by just calling clients that I had exceeded expectation with. And now they're raving fans and they'd love to have me come over, review their stuff, add additional policies, write policies on their friends and family, roll over annuity. Like, there's a lot of that there. And that's a beautiful thing with this business. If you're not transactional and you go above and beyond and you care more than they expected you to. Sam, kind of talk about that. Like, how do you create raving fans, and why do you, like, where they're just grateful that Sam is my agent?
Yeah, dude. So, I mean, I got a couple stories. I sat with a client, Teresa, and it was in Riverside, and she sent an internet lead, and she doesn't have anybody, dude. Her beneficiary she wanted was her son. Her son's not in the picture right now, so it's very selfless of her to get insurance to leave to somebody. But I just sat there and we were talking while we were doing the financial inventory. I complimented her flowers that she had in her kitchen. She's like, oh, yeah, I buy them myself. I don't have anybody that will send me flowers. So So, dude, I wrote her Eagle Premier, and then immediately when I got in my car, I ordered flower delivery and sent them to her. And the next day she called me and she's like, did you send these to me? I'm like, yeah, I hope you like them. And, dude, she loves me, dude. She still calls me out of the blue just to say hi. Like, just say, hey, how's it going?
That's
hope you're
great.
doing well. Yeah, dude. So, like, that's one. And then sometimes, I'll do errands for my clients if they need help or anything like that too. I had a client named Clarence. We were writing him final expense with Aetna, and he didn't know any of his banking information. So I was like, hey, your bank's about 10, 15 minutes away. It's okay. I'll just go take you. And so I drove him to the bank, got him his stuff. He's like, hey, can you take me to the grocery store? I need to get some milk. And it was actually about this time. This was my first death claim too, Paul. And so I drove him to the store, got him milk, came back, and then they called me back. Family wanted me to come over, write his sister and the whole family. I wrote like 5 apps in that house. And Clarence was my first death claim in the business, actually. And so I so vividly remember that time of driving him, getting him milk because of what happened, So.
That's great, dude. And I mean, the thing is this, you don't know, like, that one act of service, of kindness, dude. Like, man, it's like it gets shaken up, pressed together, and it gets poured all out of your lap even more than what you gave, man. Like, you don't know what that did for the people around him when you showed that act of kindness and generosity, and how that just trickled everywhere else, right? And then it came back to you where you were able to deliver that death claim and be a part of that family, so to speak, in that moment, to come in that time of need. Like, that's what life's about, you know what I mean? Like, that's what we're created to do, and serve and help. I absolutely love that, dude. And I think that there's things that, people can do when it comes to in the house, through the in-home, that really builds up gratitude too, right? Like, just simply listening to the clients and being present with them. I think that the care more part of it, not the know more. When you want to know more, a lot of times we go in and you're trying to remember all of these things that you try to learn, and like, I got to say it like this or say this or that. And you're not really present with that family because you're trying to think about all these things that you're trying to not mess up and not step over and do this and do that. And that is what they kind of expect, is a transaction. Typically, most of the time when somebody comes over to somebody's house, or it could be even over the phone, and they're going to sell something, they think it's transactional. Like, this person's in it for themselves. Like, there's something in it for them. And maybe sometimes they think it's more for you than it is for them, which creates the opposite of a Raven fan, right? It's high transactional. But when you can sit with the client and be present, man, like, just like ask questions because you're listening. You say, Paul, what questions to ask? Well, are you listening, man? Like you'll know what questions to ask if you know the person, if you're interested in the person. But if you're interested in yourself, i.e., I need to make the sale, it's about me. I always say you got to be more interested than interesting.
You don't need sales training to have a conversation.
Exactly. 100%, man. Now, if you suck with people, you need to go to, like, read a people skills book or something. That still isn't, like, you got to just care about people. Right. But if you can put their shoes on and think about them, like they had somebody just come to their house, what are they thinking? They're thinking, I don't know this person. What are their common fears? Fears could be like, they're going to try to sell me something I don't need.
Lied to.
I'm going to get lied to. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be trustworthy.
They're going to push me to do something I don't want to do.
I don't want pressure. Mm-hmm. I don't want that sales pushy pressure, right? Mm-hmm. I don't want that. I'm going to get, duped, so to speak. Like, I'm going to get something that's not beneficial, that nobody else gets. I'm going to be the one that got. Like, all these are these fears that they have. And so if you understand that, then your communication should just be to address those fears. Mm. Like, dude, I don't need to read a book on, and if I sit down with my kid at night and she's like, Daddy, I'm scared there's a monster in my bed. Like, I just address that fear. I have a conversation with her. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to, baby, let me go watch a podcast on kids scared of monsters. I'll be right back, baby. I got you. Like, I don't do that. That'd be weird. I mean, like, just have a conversation. And so then I step into those shoes and I can have the conversation, say, Sam, listen, man, like, I've done this quite a while. And what I do is I filled under, I'm not a captive sales rep. And so my job is really to understand your situation so I can best serve you and help you, because we use Mutual of Omaha, Aetna, John Hancock. I have clients today with AIG, with Aflac, with you name it, Transamerica. And so every situation is unique and different. And my goal is to understand your situation so I can help you. And I can tell you this, Sam, most families that I serve and help, they typically want to make sure that when they die, that there's not a financial disarray or disaster or struggle that their family has to go through or endure. They want to do their best to make sure that they're proactive and they put the protection in place that will provide the peace of mind they want. Is that kind of fair to say that's what you had in mind as well?
Yes.
So like already I'm stepping into the shoes and I'm trying to unmask and uncover these fears they've got. And I'm already starting to develop with like, I like this guy.
Right.
Why? Because he's removing the fears I've got, right? And anybody that removes fears from you and takes away things that are holding you back, you know, because you're scared or afraid, you're pretty appreciative of that person, right?
Increasing credibility, reducing sales pressure.
Exactly. So, and you can do that throughout the whole. Now, a raving fan, the way you can create that, in addition to some of the things that Sam said, and he was present and aware. Like he would never thought to go get her flowers if he didn't know, wasn't really listening to her. Right. There could be another agent that heard the same thing, but they weren't listening, where they left and said, I'm going to do this, right? But if you can focus on building the why in the entire process by asking questions, right? Even going through the 3 objectives I want to accomplish today is to make sure you can afford it. And this is why, because this is the most important thing. And then you can tell stories and hypotheticals. By the time you're going through all that, they've got this thought process of, man, this was such a pain. And they didn't even know the pain was there, right? No different than, I guess, like I don't know, I've never been a therapist, but like I know that there are deals to like unmask. I probably definitely need therapy, but to unmask pain, right? And then that you might not even know is there. And then when it's unmasked, they help you provide the solution, and that frees you from somewhere that you were held stuck in or bondage in, right? And the whole goal is sometimes the client doesn't know about what's around the corner and the disaster that lays ahead because they've not thought about it. But when you can ask questions, not tell, but ask, and they now see the pain, and then you provide the painkiller for that person, i.e. the aspirin or whatever to facilitate and serve that headache, now they're raving fans.
Yeah.
They're different. If you came in and you're like, dude, bro, I can't see. I'm like, what's wrong? Like, I got the worst headache ever, bro. I'm going to freaking throw up. I feel sick. And Hillary's like, no, I got you, Sam. Here's whatever. What clears headaches?
Ibuprofen.
What's really strong?
Vicodin.
Here's a Vicodin, right? And you take one too many of those, right? And now your headache's gone. And you're like, oh my God. Like, dude, you're a raving fan. You're like, I love you. Like, I was dying, you know? But that's what you want to be, right? You don't. Most agents are out there trying to be vitamins. They're just trying to educate. This is what's going to happen. Let me proactively help you with something. Now, did you address the pain and build the why? Because if that why is big enough and they can see it and feel it, they now have been you've revealed the pain and you've got the solution, dude. You know, and that's such a big deal to create that raving fan. You know what I mean? And help out with that. Jeremiah, talk about like. How do you what's something you think you do in the home that really connects well with the clients that gets them leaving at the end like, man, I'm grateful for Jeremiah being my guy?
So first of all, I think that I just go in the house with so much confidence because I know that my closing ratio is like 95%. Like I know when I go in a house that I'm.
Is it really 95%?
Yeah, it's like it's really weird if I don't close somebody.
So you should help 40 families this month. That'd be really weird. It'd be really weird if you didn't help really 40 families in, right?
Yes, it would. But when I go into a house, I have that much confidence, and when I sit down with them, I ask them the right questions, and I just make sure that I get myself uncomfortable every single time I'm in a house because, asking the right questions is the most important thing to get them uncomfortable by really looking out and sticking out for their family, asking them the questions that most people don't want to ask. I think my biggest goal is to make sure that I'm pushing them to the fact where they're really thinking. We have questions that we're supposed to ask, but you're supposed to ask it with so much conviction, and you just have to look at them and be like, you're going to pass away one day, and your family, they're going to need this. So I think the biggest thing for me is I really just go in there with confidence, like you say, that they're going to pass away tomorrow, and if I don't help them out today, their family's not going to be in a good position. And I think the biggest things for me is I really look at them and I just take a couple minutes to digest the conversation we're having and just being so in the moment that I just feel so overwhelmed with emotion that, if I don't help this family and do everything I can today, that they're going to suffer from this.
Dude, another thing with that is being transparent with your clients and even sharing your testimony with them or your experiences.
100%. That's like the biggest thing, is talking about the past experiences that you've gone through, and just really, like, anytime you get any kind of objection, I just laugh. And like, if they're like, oh yeah, if this is legit, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to eat if I were to take your Social Security, because then I lose my job. Like, I say things like that because I'm being so real with them. I'm like, John, if I were to take your bank info, I wouldn't be able to eat tomorrow. So I'm here to protect your family. Let's be serious here. This is for your family. And I just try to be so transparent with them, like you say.
Well, I love that, dude, because what you're saying is like, this is about you, not me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the goal, is the more you can do that in the in-home, and also spot out times when you can kind of see that they feel like maybe it's about you, not them, and to spot it out instantly by saying the things you say. That's how you get them back in alignment. Like, dude, this ain't about me. You know what I mean? And I think that's essential, man. And I've done that many times. And usually those are the ones that are the most raving fans, right? Is
right.
When they give you so much pushback, you're like, this guy's a pain, man. But they're the ones that like call you back and they love you because you stood up for them, right? You didn't take the easy route and just say, man, this is kind of like going back and forth with this dude. Like, I'm just going to, all right, I'll just go next one. I got enough leads anyways.
Right.
But you stand there and you stand up for that person and you go through that. That's the client that is just like, I love that, this is my dude, this is my agent.
And I think the biggest thing is to just like, hold yourself with some professionalism, but be a person when you're in the home. Be a person, talk to them, like really conversate with them, be real and just be in the conversation, like you're saying. Like, you don't have to stick to the talking points in order to help somebody. Some people, they like to go off the walls a little bit. Go with them, talk, ask them questions about that, then come back, you just bring it back to the conversation, what it's really about.
That's good, dude. Well, hey, you didn't know this, but we're going to do it now. Now that you've told me you closed 95%, we're going to record your in-home presentation. We'll get that out. We'll do like a whole mock role play.
Okay.
It's going to be good, dude. And everything you're saying is 100%. Like, it's okay to go off, but then get back. You're in control. So it's okay to go off and play a little bit over here on a topic that is not specific, but that's where the rapport building gets built. Get a little, off the path, but then you're in control though, so you bring it right back with a question,
right.
And now you're back on another. Like, man, I'm connected with this person, and also now you're going back to the questions, providing value. It's an art, not a science. Yep. But if you're so consumed with the knowing and not being present, you're making an art a science, and it ain't gonna work the way you want it to work, man.
Yeah, and the biggest thing you can do when you're in a house is always to ask questions. Like, as soon as you're done talking, it has to be finished with a question. Like, you want to keep engaging in the conversation and making sure that, you guys are both in the moment and you guys are both realizing what's happening, And I also like to take pauses whenever I'm in the home. Like, if we're having a good conversation, I'm like, okay, Paul, and then, if you were to pass away, what does that look like? And I just be quiet, those are the best times, that's when they sell themselves at that point, because you're asking the right questions and they have to think about it. If you're like, yeah, Paul, if you died, what does that look like? Like, you're not thinking about it, but if I'm like, Paul, if you passed away, what does that look like for your family? Like, for your wife, how does that, like, what does that look like? And just really have the conviction that, when that happens, there's going to be tragedy. And that's just the biggest part, honestly.
Well, I think the way you say it really kind of uncovers if you're a transactional person, or if you're a person that's more on the transformational side, like you're trying to transform their situation. Like, if when you asked it both ways, I thought the first way I was like, that's the dude that's just like going through the emotions, like that's what I got to say to get my money, right. And it didn't work. The other person said it the same words, but you said it in such a way where it's like, man, I care about you. I want you to understand that I care, and your voice has the inflection that, like, dude, like, this is what's gonna happen, man. I'm looking out for you, bro. Like, I'm on your side, dude. It's about you, not me. And that's the way it should be. I love that. Sam, I think gratitude has a lot to do too with like what you consume. Like, I think if you consume a bunch of crap, bad stuff, it's difficult to be to look at things, whether it's good things or bad things or whatever, like with an attitude of gratitude. I think it's tough, man. And we are what we consume. You know what I mean? And in fact, the funny thing is, the other night, I don't even know what movie it was. We left the TV on something, but my 7-year-old, she came upstairs or down. She was downstairs, and she's like the rebellious one. She's the one that's very emotionally intelligent. School, she's not, but emotionally intelligent, dude. She's smart, and so all the kids come, like Parker and Peyton and Perlay, they all come up like, Dad, Mom, Penelope's cussing. like, what do you mean she's cussing? Like, You know, like, we just thought they were being fools, you know, like she was saying ship or something. And they thought she was saying the bad word, you know. Like, now she's not cussing. Like, what are you talking about? And they're like, yeah, she is. We're like, no, she's not. Like, so we're like, Penelope, come upstairs. She comes upstairs, and we're like, you know, what are you saying? She's like, it's not a bad word. I said in the movie. I said, what are you saying? She said, I just said it's a badass. And I was like, wait, what did you just say? She's like, badass. And she said it, and when she said it, she thought she was so cool, you know? And I don't know, I forget what she was watching, but they were saying that, you know? And she enjoyed it. Like, you could tell she liked it, you know? And, like, where if my 10-year-old, if she would have said it and found out it was a bad word, she'd have been like, she'd have cried. Like, oh, my God. Like, Penelope, she's like, that. It's a bad word. You know, I like it, you know? So, but we realized, like, man, we can't have that stuff on because she likes it too much, and it's cute. It's almost like I enjoyed her saying it, you know, to be transparent with you guys, because she has like this little accent when she speaks. But we didn't encourage it. She doesn't, you know. But it was like, it was just cute. But what I'm saying is, like, what you hear, it's like it's what you repeat. You know what I mean? Like, what you consume is what comes out. It's important to be intentional with that, because sometimes we don't realize that it is coming into our heart, and it's going to erode our ability to get to new heights and levels in our career or in life in general, because it's not that big of a deal. It's just this, or it's just that. It's like, nah, man, like, you don't realize it's everything matters or nothing matters, man. Like, everything has some kind of consequence, something tied to it. And I mean, I saw that with Penelope, right? Like, it's you got to watch what you're consuming. Sam, what do you consume that helps you kind of, you know, keeping that attitude, that state of mind of gratitude? Like, what do you consume? Like, you know?
Yeah, dude. Well, I mean, I'm not trying to proselytize anybody, but I am Christian, so I listen to a lot of. I mean, when I'm driving a lot, I listen to a lot of audio tapes about the Bible, and I do read the Word. But even like with insurance and stuff, dude, I listen to a lot of podcasts and trainings, and I mean, one of the things that I learned of how to be grateful in the hard times was knowing that everybody has hard times and everybody has gone through hard times in insurance, and going through it myself and applying that, like coming out the other side, like knowing all the good stuff I've been listening to in the trainings and stuff. That helped me keep level-headed when, you know, if I wasn't applying that stuff, or if I wasn't listening to podcasts or anything like that, I probably would have been like, oh, well, I should probably quit. Today's a good day to quit.
That's true, though, dude. It's definitely true, man. Do you have like a gratitude journal or anything you do intentionally?
Dude, I need to. I probably should.
Same boat.
I probably should.
Too.
One of the things I like to do is I wake up early, and I usually like to go to the gym, and that gets like my mind clear for the day. If I don't go, I'm a mess in every aspect. Family, work, everything. So that's like my anchor for the day.
Dude, I'm the same way, man. Like, if I can mess up a lot of things or forget to do a lot of things, but if I don't work out and I don't have time to pray and read the Word, dude, I'm a disaster. Like, those are the two things that if I get those right, like, typically the day's going to go in the right direction. If I mess those up, it's almost like it's a wrap.
It's a good day to quit, bro.
Yeah, it's a wrap, bro. But I do think for everybody practically, I feel like I am that needs something that says, hey, this is going to take it from like, oh, this sounds like a good idea, to making it something that's practically a part of your routine, is like the 5-Minute Journal is a phenomenal app to get and then make that a practice every morning. Like, it talks about, it gives you a quick quote in the morning that's good, so you're consuming something good right away. And so, like, the first thing I do when I wake up is I say, man, hey, thank you, God, today's going to be a phenomenal day. I just thank God for the day, you know what I mean? And that's just something I say out loud the moment my alarm goes off. You know, my wife probably is like, what the heck is this crackhead doing over here, you know? But then I get up, chug my glass of water, I hit it like a beer bong, man, and wake you up quick, you know? So I pound that thing. It's like a race. But that'll get you up, you know what I mean? So for anybody that's like, man, I want to wake up early like Sam, well, there's practical things that'll help you build a discipline until it becomes a habit. Then it's like waking up is just what I do. It's actually hard not to, right? But then starting your gratitude journal is the first thing I do, right? And you know, the Word says, hey, enter his Thanksgiving with praise and his, in courts with thanksgiving, like that. It's saying, hey, if you want to like enter the gates, the open heaven, where God's got the abundance and you can say something and ask it and you could bring it to pass. It's like enter it with this declaration, this thankfulness, like thank you for these things that are taking place. Thank you for what's to come. Like that attitude of gratitude. I think what it does, man, it puts this lens on, so you start looking through the day as a victorious day. All right, so for everything that you want to have happen that day, if you want to go book 15 appointments, man, start being grateful for booking those 15 appointments, man. Start to declare those 15 appointments to be booked. Start visualizing yourself booking all those appointments. Now, if you ain't working, it ain't going to work, bro. But I'm just telling you, it'll activate it where you'll keep the right mindset, not self-sabotage throughout that to mess it up. So the gratitude is a strategy, right? And in the 5-minute journal, you put down 3 things you're grateful for. You could pick up a picture, right? It could be anything. Like I could take a photo of us right now. Okay, so you should take a photo. And then I could post that on my journal and say, man, I'm just grateful to be in business with great people, man. I could be grateful for the air that I got to breathe. I got grateful for my kids, depending on the day. They go from blessings to burdens, depending on what day of the week it is. But like whatever it is, right? What am I grateful for?
Right.
And then you think about those things, and that will lead you to the emotion that's going to help you do the things that produces more of what you want to have. But if you wake up, man, and you're just dealing with the fear or not good enough or the doubt, disbelief, discouragement, all these other emotions, then you're going to be moved by those, and you're going to go create the past that you don't want, right? And so I think it's very essential to intentionally put together this strategy to go out there and build your business. I think it's just a big deal, man. I thought, so I got 4 daughters, right? And you guys know this. So I got this Taycan turbo car, the Porsche Taycan turbo, and it's got launch mode in it. And have you ever taken you a ride on that?
No, you haven't.
Thing is nuts.
Sam, I got to take you for a ride.
Yeah, you do.
So it's what you get when you have way too much estrogen in your house. So it actually gets my levels right. I mean, I did it really for that. It was just because it was super fast. I was like, I got way too much estrogen in my house. It makes me feel like a man, dude. Let me go fast. But the thing is this, dude. Like, I think, like, if you look at the Bible, for instance, right? I thought this was interesting. It says in the Bible, it says believe, the word believe 272 times, pray 371 times, love 741 times, and give, right? It says 2,152 times. I mean, think about that, right? Love is 700. It's double. It's like the most stated word, right? Giving, and typically we give out of what? Out of a place of thanksgiving, right? Of gratitude, of abundance, And it didn't say give only when it feels good. It's give, right? And that's what we do: is serving agents, serving clients. The more we can give, the more we're going to have the fruit produced, right? The more you're going to have poured out in that lap of yours. And so, but the owner's manual talks about it, man. Like, I'm not trying to tell anybody what to read or do or whatever, but I'm just telling you, man, like, it's the owner's manual. You are created, right? And so, like, if that book is a book that shows us how us as the creators, the ones created, are supposed not to live a fulfilled life, and it talks about giving, I mean, that's the owner's manual. And so I'll give you a point. Like, sometimes we miss, like, the abundance of or just the bliss that we can have in a given moment, or what's before us, because we miss what the owner's manual is telling us to do. Like, we're driving incorrectly, right? And it's like that car I got, dude. Like, if you didn't know how to do launch mode, watch, I'm going to do 2 different ways for you, Sam, right? Once we hop out, we're going to do this right now. We're wrapping up. I'll drive a regular, right? And if I didn't read the owner's manual, bro, I would not have known about launch mode. Launch mode, you got to put your brake down, and then you put the gas pedal down. And then you take the gas pedal off, or the brake off, and it launches the car. It goes significantly faster, dude. It's like a dang, Casey, you've been in, right? It's like a roller coaster, right? It's a blast, dude. But there's so many people that, dude, you've got launch mode. It's in you. You were created with launch mode. But you're not going to launch your life if you don't have the generosity, the thanksgiving, if you don't intentionally make that a part of your strategy. It's a winning strategy. And then you go out there and you give, you serve, right? If you do that, then all of a sudden the things that you think are lack become things that become abundant. If you need to be encouraged, man, go be an encouragement, right? If you need some finances to change, man, believe in your business and start putting into your business in faith that it's going to work out. Go from fear to faith, right? Activate launch mode, right? Activated by gratitude, by giving, by serving. And I promise you, you can take your business, you can take your life to the next level. So Sam, we're going to go hit it, bro. You ready?
Let's do it.
Hey, by the way, guys, like, subscribe, comment below. We've got a drawing that's getting ready to take place right now. I hope this has served you well. I got a ton from it, guys. I really appreciate you, pouring into me and serving me with the things that you went through, your stories. And it's something that we all need to be reminded of. You know what I mean? Like, we can get caught up, and I've done it many times where I'm like, dude, why am I? And I start complaining about what I used to pray about. I was praying for like the ability to not have a financial lid on myself. I was praying to have my own schedule. And I'm complaining about the things within my own schedule I got to go do. Like, I got to go dial. I got to call that. It's like, what am I doing, man?
Dude.
But if you can look back and think about like what Jeremiah and Sam talked about, and like myself, I was digging ditches, and I was like, dude, we have it so good. But let's not keep or take what's now normal. Let's not become numb to it. Let's intentionally have a strategy of gratitude to keep our focus on the thankfulness we should have and the blessing we have in what we do, so we don't become numb to it and lose the favor that familiarity so often steals. So guys, go out there, make it a massive week. Be strong, stay steadfast, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
What's going on, guys? You know what time it is. We're giving $250 of lead credit to 4 lucky people. If you commented on last week's podcast, which is playing right over here, you're automatically entered to win. So what are you doing right now? Go comment on this podcast right down below for your chance to win some leads next week. Without further ado, let's see who won this time. Our first winner is So Sang Leo, like the content. Our second winner is Monica Nava. Gotta love the Morning Wake Up podcasts. Our third winner is Daniel Colfit. Key takeaway, discipline in the schedule equals freedom. Great pod, boys. And our fourth winner for this week is Donnie Korik. Great podcast. Love the training. Let's go. Thank you, Paul and Ryan. Guys, it's that simple. Just leave a comment letting us know how you like the podcast, what you took from it, so on and so forth, and you can win $250 worth of free lead credit. You don't have to pay for anything. Just leave a comment. With that being said, we hope that you have a happy Thanksgiving, spending time with your families and serving families, and we will see you on Monday next week. Take care, guys.